Hello, all my Maniacs out there. Welcome back to the channel. It's so great to see you again. And yeah, people really are mad at Wish. Every time I go on YouTube, there is another review. There is another person talking about how this is the worst Disney movie ever, and that people are just hating it, and that the box office is terrible, and people are saying it's the worst Disney animated film ever made. And to those people, I say, have you heard of Chicken Little? And yeah, this movie is getting panned and dragged across the mud and all of this stuff, and with all of that going on, how do I feel about the film? Well, I can sum up all my emotions about it in one word. It's just For me, this movie isn't bad enough for me to get mad over. I mean, hey, I think it's a step up from Strange World, but then again, that's not saying much. The good stuff was, good enough to be decent. And then there was quite a lot of things dragging it down. So let's go through those and see, why didn't Wish captivate everybody the way that Disney had hoped? Well, let's see. So let's dive into this by looking at the animation. Some people say that it looks unfinished, other people say that it actually looks really good, and I think that I lean a little bit more on the side of people that say it looks unfinished. Now, I'm not saying that this looks bad, but what I am saying is, we have been seeing animated movies really experiment with style, but here, it doesn't feel like Disney made a unique style. It feels like they took their animation, threw a filter on it, and called it a day. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about this in the fact that I know a lot of talented animators worked on this. I don't want to say that the work is necessarily bad, but what I'm saying is the overall direction, whoever made that final call, I think really did not make the best call. They were trying to make this look like a fairy tale book come to life. Great idea! But I don't think that this look really captured that. And when I tell people who aren't big Disney nerds, and they look at that and I tell them it's supposed to look like a storybook come to life, they don't really see it. They don't really get it. They're like, I don't really see that. I'm not getting that final look, and I think that's where overall this look fails. Disney has been experimenting for years on how to adapt and look differently in the field of animation with a bunch of short films that they've released, from Paperman and Feast, a whole bunch that got released onto Disney+, all of which had amazing and unique styles, and they chose to go with none of them, and this just feels very unfinished. So whereas I appreciate the attempt, they needed to go all the way and do more. Alright, let's talk about the characters. Overall, they're fine, I guess. Like, Asha's fine. I can't really think of anything that was bad about her. You know, I can't think of anything that was great about her either. She was totally serviceable and fine. Magnifico, I really want to like Magnifico more. I do. Because by the end of the movie, he was actually kind of a fun villain. But at the beginning, oh gosh. You know, it's just, they promised that we were going to have a true villain from the beginning of the movie onward, and even in this, modern Disney still has to make it a twist villain, even if it is a villain from the beginning of the movie. It's not truly a twist villain, but it sure feels like it, and it's like, even in the ones where you say there's not gonna be a twist villain, you still try to make it a twist villain. Why? Just let him be evil, for the sake of being evil. And just, okay, whatever. You know, he's not that bad. By the end of the movie, I had fun with him. He was fun for part of the movie, and that I really did enjoy, where he was really getting sinister. He was really fun to watch, and you could tell Chris Pine was really getting into it. It's just sad he couldn't be that the whole movie. Now we get to the side characters. There is Star and Valentino. Star is fine. Like, I actually appreciate the fact that they made Star, you know, mute. Star got a few laughs out of me. Star was a good character. I enjoyed having them around. They might have been one of my favorite parts about the movie. Oh, then we get to Valentino. And this just makes me sad, y'all. In the fact, sidekicks are almost always my favorite characters in a Disney movie. And Valentino, for me, was a side character that just didn't click. But it's just the fact he served no purpose. He does nothing to help, except find one door with his butt. And I'm sorry, that's not a good enough reason to, especially because Star could have found it just as easily and in a less cringy way. Other than that, there's like the Queen, who's just kind of there. Same thing about Asha's mom and grandpa. Like, they play a point for like 5 minutes in the main movie and then they're kind of gone. I wish I could care about them more. And it felt like they were trying to get us to pull some emotional strings for all of them, but then I didn't know them well enough to care. So it kind of fell on deaf ears. And then we need to talk about her friends, which then leads to another big part of this movie. Her friends, they are the Seven Dwarfs. Like, that's literally what they are. There are 7 of them. They all have the personality traits of the dwarves. So their whole purpose for existing is to be a reference. Which, references are great. If you do references right, they're really fun. But it's when a reference is done right. Either a reference is a big part of a story and you make it, like, plot relevant in a meaningful way, that gets really exciting. Or if you can't do that, just make it a quick one-off cameo. Those are fun. But the 7 dwarf friends over here, they tread this weird line of trying to make them fully fleshed out characters without making them fully fleshed out characters. Like, they have a weird amount of screen time for them being 7 characters. You don't really know any of them by the end of the movie. Like, I can't tell you one of their names. Not one of them. I will forever just call them by whatever dwarf they represent. I don't know their names. But they even try to make it to where, like, one of the characters is actually a moderately big plot point. But once again, I can't even tell you their name. So when that plot point showed up, I was, who is this again? I think he was one of her friends, but I don't know. Maybe. I'm not positive. And it took me a second to kind of realize, oh, that's what's going on. Like, that would have been really impactful if I cared about this character or even knew this character's name. But I don't know enough about this character to care. And that's where it comes to references in this movie. And it has to be said, this movie feels like it's trying to be the 100th anniversary movie because of the references. They make references to so many other Disney movies. And normally I appreciate that, but they all just feel empty and hollow. It just felt like they were meeting a corporate mandate. And I don't want to say that that is what happened, because I don't know, I wasn't there, but that's what it feels like. There were a couple of things that I actually did appreciate. There was a moment where Magnifico was looking through people's dreams and made a couple of allusions to some Disney movies about their dreams. And I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of cute. It feels like they focused so hard on making references that the movie lacked an identity. I kind of remember this movie as the reference movie that kind of had a story with it. Now, let's go with the music here. The music has gotten some, mixed reviews, to be polite. Some people despise the music, some people really enjoy it. I am definitely somewhere in the middle. I don't think every song is a train wreck or anything like that, but other than being kind of catchy, they mostly just lack heart. The only song I can say I actually like from this movie is the main one, the Wish song. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's not bad, and it kind of has some heart, so I'm cool with it. Magnifico's song just kind of makes me sad, because at the end of the song, it kind of starts to become a really cool villain song, but we only get it for like 2 seconds. And even in the context of the film, this song doesn't make any sense. I don't want to go too far into spoilers here, but there is a moment where Magnifico is starting to get really upset because he is being challenged, and he reacts appropriately for a villain. He starts getting defensive and mad and problematic. But then he turns around and leaves and starts the song. But if you've heard the song, it does not start heated and mad. It actually starts kind of almost happy, which feels weird, because the tension of the movie is building and building and building and building, and then they have to bring the tension all the way down to start the song, just to end the song where the song started, emotionally, which really felt jarring. But all the other songs just, aside from a catchy hook here and there, just kind of feel forgettable and bland, which I hate saying, but that's kind of what it felt like to me. And now one of the other things we need to talk about is the fact they kept trying to say that this is going to harken back to the older movies that they've had. And I think they did that superficially, but not in any meaningful substance way. It's like they took elements of it, but not realizing what made those elements work. It's like they tried to make a gumbo and just threw in a bunch of stuff and think it would work because that's what they thought gumbo did. Then they realized that every flavor in a gumbo complements each other. And it's delicious because of that. But if you don't have all those ingredients in the right way, it just tastes like a jumbled mess. It was so superficial, in fact, I asked my friends who were with me, who aren't Disney nerds, what did you guys think of how they harken back to the old films? And they kind of looked at me for a second and said, I didn't get that at all, except for the fact, yeah, it's a princess movie, but none of it felt like it was hearkening to the old stuff. It kind of felt like their same old stuff that they've been doing. So they didn't even catch that. We even had a talk later where they kept telling me that they just saw more new than old. So I don't know what they meant by hearkening back to old Disney. You know, it's not awful, but it's definitely not great. If you're really looking for that Disney magic again, I don't know if this really has it for you. I'm just kind of disappointed with everything Disney's been putting out. Every time I go into a movie, I expect more than what I get. Even when I come in with this movie where I actually had relatively low expectations, I still didn't meet those. But you know, that's just where Disney is right now. They will definitely get out of their slump. It's just a matter of time. I never thought I'd say these words. But honestly, I had more fun watching the Netflix Adam Sandler movie than I did the Disney feature animated film. Am I saying this is the better made film? Not really. But I had more fun with this one. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!